Welcome to the Tiffany Micah podcast. What we do here is build the strength and courage in you to accomplish your big dreams and goals in your sport. No longer will you feel limited. You won't feel you're not good enough. You won't question whether you will make it, and those doubts will disappear because you will have the competitive edge over your opponents and you'll leave them in your wake. And the bonus is, others will notice. So listen up and take notes because I'll show you exactly how to do it. Hey there, this is Tiff from the Tiffany Micah podcast and welcome to today's episode. Have you ever felt this way? When you've competed and you've really stuffed up, You've lost the point, really stuffed it up, or you've lost the game, you really stuffed up the game, or you've lost the match. You've really stuffed it up in your sport. Do you have a really hard time dealing with it? And what I mean here by a really hard time dealing with it, I'm talking about the disappointment because in your eyes, it just was not good enough. It's like you've got this expectation and you don't reach this expectation and then you become incredibly disappointed. Or you may not be where you want to be yet in your sport, and you may not yet be at the level you want to be at yet in your sport. And you see that it's just not good enough. And you feel incredibly disappointed. And you have this expectation of where you want to be and you're not there, and therefore you have this disappointment. So what happens when it's just not good enough? And what I mean by that, I'll reframe that for you, is what do you say and how do you act when it's just not good enough? So when you've performed, you've played a shot, or you've lost a point, or you've lost the game or the match, you've been in this big tournament and you lost in the first round, you haven't performed the way you wanted to and kicked that ball to that next person the way you wanted to and it got intercepted. What do you do? What's some things that you do when you see that it's just not good enough? You shake your head. You roll eyes in the back of your head. You round your shoulders and you look down at the ground and you put your hands on the hips when you're looking down. And then you're telling yourself how crap you are, how you suck, right? You're hopeless. You'll never be good enough. See, I told you you'd stuff this up. You should have done better, shouldn't you? And then what happens after that? Well, next time you're in that situation, the next match, the next tournament, the next competition, you do it again. Don't you? You go through the whole process again. You stuff it up, then you shake your head, you roll your eyes, you round your shoulders, your hands are on the hips and you're looking down. Then you're telling yourself how bad you are. You'll never get this. Told you you'll never be good enough. Can you see that there's a pattern here? And I get it. And you're saying, Tiff, I've got a goal. Tiff, I've got to do this. Yep, I get it. And I know when I competed in tennis, I expected to win. I expected to do well. I expected that I was good enough to play from a physical sense because I was just as good as any other player from a physical point of view. But then I played and I'd stuff up. I'd make errors. I'd lose points. I'd lose games. I'd lose matches. And then I'd say, see, Tiff, told you you're not good enough. Told you you're really bad. Told you you'll never be good enough at this. You'll probably never make it, so why do you keep bothering? Why don't you just give up? And I wasn't physically doing what I thought I could do when I thought I couldn't do it. That told you. I expected that because I was good at it, from a physical sense, that I should win. I had that expectation that I should win. And I see this with so many sports people. And I see this because, as you know, if you've heard from me before, I talk about this with golfers. They expect that they should be able to do it. And when they don't, what is it that they do? They shake their head, they roll their eyes, they stoop their shoulders, they feel like giving up. And you may feel like that too. You may feel like giving up as well. When this keeps happening, you get disappointed. And I love golf. Actually, I love sport, but I love golf for this reason, because it's a really great teacher. Because what I look at when golf is asking you this question, it says to you, how badly do you want this? And in your sport, I want you to be thinking the sport that you play, whatever sport it is, tennis, cricket, hockey, swimming, athletics, marathon running, whatever it is, I want you to ask this question. This sport is asking you, how badly do you want it? And I say this like the universe always asks you this question. Doesn't matter what the sport is, it says, how badly do you want this? And I can feel you through your headphones. I can feel you saying to me, Tiff, I want this real bad. And this is great. This is great that you want this real bad. But how do you deal with expecting something to happen, then dealing with the disappointment you feel when the disappointment follows, right? When it doesn't happen. Because I will let you know now, there will be some disappointments along the way. That's part of the process. People say it's part of the journey. But it is. It's part of the process. You are going to have disappointments. You're going to expect to be able to do certain things. You are going to fall short at times. That is all part of the process. But what can you do? Because this expectation that you have, that you should be able to win or that you should be better than you are, then what we need to do right now is we need to know how to deal with disappointment. Because disappointment's going to come up. Disappointment's going to happen. We can't put our heads in the sand and go, oh no, all I have to think of is that I'm going to achieve this. Yes, and yes. You do have to think that you're going to achieve this, and you do have to set the goal, and you do have to set the outcome. But sometimes it takes longer to get there. Sometimes it's not going to work out the way you'd like to. And that's all part of what happens. That happens in life. Because the first way to deal with disappointment, and I'm going to share with you that right now, is acknowledge. And that's number one, acknowledge. I want you to acknowledge that you've made some mistakes. It's okay. Mistakes are good. Mistakes help us figure out what not to do. So we need to acknowledge that we've made a mistake. It's okay. And why I say that we need to acknowledge that is we need to accept that mistakes are going to happen. We will do what we can to eliminate the mistakes, but guess what? They're going to crop up. So we have to acknowledge that happens. And then, number two, we have to learn to accept it. So you don't want to feel, yeah, I've stuffed up and go hug a tree, do you? You go, oh, great. Tiff said I have to accept and acknowledge that I've stuffed up. I've made a mistake. I've done an error. I haven't reached the expectation I wanted to reach in this performance today. Yep. Woohoo, I've done it. Okay, that's a great way of looking at it, but you don't have to go and hug a tree, right? You don't have to go and smell daffodils. I just want you to accept it. I just don't want you to feel lousy about it. And I really don't want you to feel lousy about it. Because it's not the thing that's going to define you at the end of the day. It's only one moment in time. One moment. Just one. So we have to accept it. Okay, so we acknowledge, yep, you know what? I've stuffed up. I've made a mistake. Great. Okay, now I've accepted it, because if you don't accept it, what are you going to do? You're going to change the thought process. You're going to tell yourself you're not good enough, tell yourself that you're really bad, tell yourself that you play like crap. You're not accepting that. And what will happen is you'll keep going back into that. You stuff up, you make an error, then you tell yourself how bad you are. There's a pattern. We need to break that pattern. So number one, we've got to acknowledge. Number two, we accept. But then what? What do we do once we've acknowledged it and then we accept it? Well, this is what we do next. We let it go, into the ether of the universe, right? Just let it go. You can't hold on to it. You let it go and you learn from it. Okay, so that's number three. What did you learn? So we need to know what we learnt from it. Because I get it. You are disappointed. You didn't do what you really wanted to do and you've stuffed up. Just hasn't worked. So you've acknowledged that you've stuffed up and it was you, right? You've taken the responsibility. You have to take the responsibility that you've stuffed up. No one else, it's you. Acknowledge it, accept it. It's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. That was a big thing that I had an issue with growing up. I was too frightened of making mistakes. Little did I know the power in making mistakes was actually going to create a better person and a better performer in sport that I wanted to become. We have to accept that. Okay, we accept that we make mistakes. And you can't do anything about what's just happened either, can you? You've stuffed it up. Now it's in the past. You can't change what's happened because it's happened. But the thing is you then learn from it, don't you? And that's the power that we now have. It's the lessons that you actually learn from it. And you hear me each week talk about the lessons learned segment. What are the lessons learned this week? What's the most important lesson that I've learned this week? Right? So we have to look at, okay, well, what are the lessons learned? So here's 3 questions I want you to think about the lessons learned from when you've just stuffed up. What did you stuff up? So, for example, let's say you're a golfer and you hit the ball, you wanted to hit the ball onto the green, but it went right into the bunker. Okay, that's what you've stuffed up. Number 2, how did you do that? Okay, well, I mishit the ball, or I was aimed at the bunker, or I didn't quite hit the ball the way I wanted to and it just faded out to the right. Okay, it's just acknowledging that. And then number 3, what did you say to yourself when you stuffed up? So what words did you use? All we're looking at is the lessons that you learnt from the error that came about. So what did you say to yourself? Oh, I'm so bad. Oh, see, I told you I can't hit the ball into the green. Yeah, that'd be right. It goes into the bunker again. I always hit the ball into the bunker. Okay, that's the information that you've gathered from that. Then we move on to number 4. And number 4 is then, what do you do now from those lessons that you've learned? Okay, what could you do? Here's some questions. Question number 1, what can you do to ensure it works better? So if you've stood on the fairway, you've hit a ball, it's gone right and it's gone into the bunker. Didn't go onto the green, it went right into the bunker. What should you do? Okay, maybe you should be working on practicing your alignment, getting your alignment correct. Was that the problem? Maybe you should be working on also hitting cleaner contact with the ball so you're not mishitting the ball. How do you do that? Oh, you go over on work it on it at the driving range. You have lessons with a coach. You go and work on good clean contact. You work on keeping the club face nice and straight. Think about what you can do to ensure it works better for your sport. Number 2, what are the words you say to yourself when it works? Yeah, great shot. Well done. That was awesome. Oh, I'm so proud of myself that I did that. Yeah, talk yourself up. Yeah, that was great. So that's number 2. Number 3, what are the words that you say to yourself when it doesn't work? Good try. All you could do is give your best effort. Okay, the next one, we'll try again. Don't go, oh yeah, gosh, I'm so bad. Because then you're going to go back into that other pattern. We've got to create a new habitual routine, right? A new pattern that's going to be more beneficial for you. So the words that you say to yourself when it doesn't work, good try. You had the courage to have a go. Great, you gave the best effort you could then. And it was only in that moment It was only one moment in time. So you don't have to give yourself such a hard time that it writes you off for the next 4 hours out on a golf course, or it writes you off for the next hour in your soccer match, or it writes you off even for the next 20 seconds or 30 seconds in your sprint race on in the pool, your 50-meter race. You don't have to let that hold you back. Learn from it. That's where the power is. The power is accepting it. The power is acknowledging it. The power is learning the lessons from it. The power is learning what you can do now. It's a strategy, isn't it? It's a strategy to help you get to where you need to go, but you need to work on it. So if you can keep working on giving your best ever effort that you can each time, and you keep trying and you keep trying again, it's just like a bank account. And that's how I look at it. You're putting deposits into your bank account. You keep trying to make it better. You keep working on improving, because when you come about to that next hole, that next time, that next shot, and you're standing over the ball and you're getting set and you hit it, and it actually works, you go, you know what, that was worth the effort. If it doesn't work, you go, you know what, there's something still missing here. What's missing? What else do I need to be doing? What we're constantly doing is we're working on improvement, but we're also learning the lessons. What is not working? How can we make it better? What do I need to do to ensure that it's more reliable, so that I trust it, so that it happens? Okay, it's the lessons that you're learning from disappointment that's going to help you keep moving forward. So don't give up. And you keep going if it doesn't work. Because like I said, you're going to have times when there's disappointment that comes up. But it's what you do to recover from that. I call that the comeback. Right? How can you come back from that? Deal with that disappointment. What do you do? And you do that by using that 4-step comeback strategy for dealing with disappointment. It's pretty simple, isn't it? All it is asking questions. It's accepting, acknowledging, asking some questions. How do you do it better? Then you get out there and you do the work. That's all you need to do. Keep going. Don't give up. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'd really appreciate if you could share with me what you like best about what you heard today. And I want you to get out there, keep going, accept it, acknowledge it, learn the lessons, put an action plan in place, keep moving forward, okay? So dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams. Have an absolutely awesome day. Take care. Talk soon. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you haven't yet downloaded the #1 deadly mistake athletes make sure you go to tiffany-mika.com and download the #1 deadly mistake athletes make, because I don't want you to make that mistake. If you can also share with me what you like best about what you heard, where you hear this episode, in the comments section. If you can also share with your friends that you know that would benefit from these episodes, and please leave a 5-star review where you hear these episodes, because I would really appreciate it. Dream big, believe in you, and go after your dreams. Have an awesome day.